Hi guys, let's do our history lesson, okay? We're continuing in the story of the world, and right now we're in China, and we're going to talk about two interesting guys from China. The first one is, I think we talked about him before. His name was Shi Huangdi, and his name was changed to Chen, which is where China comes from. So he was the first emperor of China, and he was a very interesting person. He became emperor at the age of 13, and he became early on he became scared of death. He didn't want to die. In fact, he had heard that you could drink this special water that would not allow you to die, that you would stay alive forever if you drink this water. So he made 5 different journeys to find this water. Of course, he never found it because there is no water that keeps us alive forever, right? But so instead, since he couldn't find the water, he decided that he was going to make his tomb an amazing place. And since he was the emperor, he could do whatever he wanted, right? So he decided to take a plot of land that was 9 miles long. That's a lot of miles. And he decided to build this amazing tomb for himself. And in his tomb, it is said, and this is written, they have not opened his actual tomb yet, but they say that in his tomb that he put a bed in there, just like a really beautiful bedroom, and he ordered his servants after he died to come in every day and make his bed and clean the room in the tomb, and to bring food and water, even though he wouldn't need it, but they were required to bring that into the tomb. And it says that he decorated the tomb with buildings inside and rooms, and he made a ceiling of the tomb, and he decorated it which looked like stars and the moon and the sun, and he even made these trenches that looked like miniature rivers and lakes, and he filled them with mercury, which is a dangerous substance, but for us to touch or drink or any of those things. But he made it so that it would look like a flowing river inside his tomb. And they found the mercury coming out of his tomb, but they have not opened his tomb yet. One is it's very deep inside. It's covered with metal, and also the writer who wrote about his tomb says that he set up crossbows that are ready to send arrows if anybody breaks into the tomb. So people are a little bit scared of opening it, right? You don't want to get shot by an arrow. But there's one amazing thing that they did uncover. I think about 40 years ago, there were these farmers who were farming near around this tomb, and they were digging up the earth and making it so they could plant there. And one of the farmers was digging, and he heard clink, and he was digging more, and he pulled up, which he thought was a piece of clay, like a clay pot. And he told his friend who was digging with him, he's like, I think I found a clay pot. And his friend started digging with him too, and he said, no, I think this is bigger than a pot. This doesn't seem like a pot. And they dug, and one thing that they pulled out was the head of a statue, of a terracotta soldier. That it was a statue head. And they said, this is so interesting. We shouldn't plant things here. We should tell the authorities. So they sent in archaeologists who came to start digging. And the archaeologists started digging and digging and digging. And they came up with thousands of terracotta soldiers. And I don't know if you can see this very well, but this is kind of what they unearthed. These are all soldiers made out of the terracotta clay. And the interesting thing about them is they all are life-size. They're the size of actual men, and each one of them has a different facial expression. Their faces look different, which is amazing. Whoever made them took the time to make each soldier different, like real people. And they even made horses out of the clay, so it looks like each of the soldiers have horses. Now the soldiers also had weapons, real weapons that they were holding, and those were taken away. Some people came and stole them, but each soldier was ready to fight for the emperor if he needed them to, even though they're just statues. But he was a very interesting man, and they're still uncovering things from this place in China that Shi Huangji's tomb is from, or Qin. All of his amazing things that he had placed there for him. So today, for your assignment with that, we have, if you look in your packet, you have some Play-Doh, and I want you to create something out of Play-Doh that you might see in Shi Huangji's tomb. Or maybe it would be a terracotta soldier, or a horse, or the moon and the stars, or whatever you think you would find. I want you to make that with your Play-Doh. The second thing we're going to do is talk about Confucius. And Confucius lived around the same time as Buddha did. I know we talked about Buddha. And Confucius was a man who wanted to do what was right. He was very much, he enjoyed rules. He liked rules. He liked people treating each other with kindness, which is what we talk about all of the time, right? And so he decided to work for his government, and he tried to tell his government, this is what we should do. We should make these rules so everyone is kind to each other and listens to each other. And the government didn't really listen to him, so he decided to become a teacher. And he was teaching people about it. And the interesting thing about Confucius is he was interested in relationships. He wanted people to treat each other with kindness. He wanted children to listen to their parents, but he wanted parents to be kind to their children, so that both the parents and the children were having a good life, that they had a good relationship together. He would talk about a husband and wife, that they should listen to each other, that they should be kind to each other. He talked about governors and the citizens, and how people in charge, like the emperors, or we have a president, that we should listen to them, but also those people in charge should listen to the people and be kind to the people. And he said relationships are very important, that we need to listen to each other, follow the rules, and be kind, and our society will work better. Now, Confucius has some really interesting sayings, and so in your packet, one of your papers has some of his sayings that he said. So I want you to read them with your parent, and I want you to talk about what you think those things mean, and then I want you to illustrate or draw kind of what you think those sayings mean to you in a drawing. So go ahead and do that, and I look forward to seeing what you come up with. Okay, have a great day and be kind.